Hello, first grade students. This is Mr. Begay. It is Thursday, January 28, 2021. We are going to continue with our math lesson as we are doing construct arguments. Remember, boys and girls, this is where we have to read our paragraph. We're going to have to make pictures and we're going to have to come up with an explanation. We're going to have to explain what we found, whether it's true, whether it's false, or whatever the question is asking us. Now, let's read our paragraph first. Read with Mr. Begay. Sarah needs 8 cups. She has 5 cups. She buys 3 more. Does she have enough cups? Explain how you know with pictures, numbers, or words. Now let's break apart this sentence by sentence. It says, read with me, Sarah needs 8 cups. How many cups does Sarah need? She needs 8 cups, okay? Now let's keep reading. It says, she has 5 cups. How many cups now does Sarah have? 5. She has 5 cups, but she needs 8. So, first graders, just look at your screen and watch Mr. Begay. We need to put 5 cups in here. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We now have 5 cups now in our picture here, in our rectangle. Let's keep reading. She buys 3 more. Now how many more does Sarah buy? 3. So watch Mr. Begay. I'm going to have to put 3 more cups underneath. 1, 2, 3. Now we have 3 cups underneath the 5 cups. Remember, she has 5 cups, but she went out and she bought 3 more, okay? That's what it says up there in our paragraph. Now, it says, does she have enough cups? So first graders, how many cups does Sarah need altogether? 8 cups. So here's what we're going to have to do now. We're going to have to count all of them. We have to see if there's 8 cups here. Let's count with Mr. Begay. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So first graders, does she have 8 cups here now? Does she have 8 cups? Yes, she does. She has 8 cups. So first graders, we're going to have to come up with a sentence now and explain that. Let's write this. Watch your screen. Yes, she has enough cups as they total 8. Now, we put our explanation here. It says, yes, she has enough cups as they total 8. Now remember, Mr. Begay said your sentence is probably going to come out different than mine, but as long as you make the statement that is correct, it's going to align with the picture here because she does have 8 cups, so she does have enough. Now, keep looking at your screen, first graders. Let's move on to the next slide. Now, we're going to have to read this first to know what we are working with. Now, read with Mr. Begay. Here we go. Brian draws on 6 books. 4 are red and the rest are green. How many green books did Brian draw? Explain how you know. Now let's break this apart sentence by sentence. Here we go again. Let's read from here. Brian draws on 6 books. How many books does Brian draw on? 6. Okay, so he has 6 books and he draws on them. So we keep reading right here because this really tells us what to do now right here. This here is explaining to us how many books there are in total. That's what we're going to have to start realizing too. Which sentence is telling us the total number? It is usually going to be this first sentence. Now, let's keep reading. 4 are red and the rest are green. So look right here. First graders, how many books are red? 4. So watch Mr. Begay. I'm going to have to get 4 red books in a straight line right here. Okay? Now, when we start with our Google Classrooms, you will be able to start moving that around. But until then, just keep looking at your screen. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 red books within our picture now because it says 4 are red. So look, we put 4 red books here. But it says here, and the rest are green. Now here's our question. How many green books did Brian draw? Okay, explain how you know. So this next question here we have to answer. They want us to know how many green books did he draw on. Now first graders, how many red books are here? 4. There are 4 red books here. And how many books are there total? 6. Okay? So we gotta put some more books down here. Okay? Because we only have 4 and we need to get to 6. Now, here's how we're gonna do it. Watch Mr. Begay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? Let's put them right there. Now, there is our picture. Now, we should have 6 books here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So first graders, how many green books did Brian draw on? How many green books are here? Good job. There are 2 green books. So now we have to give an explanation here. Now, watch your screen because it says, here's what we have to explain. How many green books did Brian draw? So watch your screen. Here's what we're going to put. Brian drew with 2 green books. There's our explanation now. Brian drew with 2 green books because the question is, how many green books did Brian draw? There's 2. Look, 2 green books. So you have to explain it like that, okay? Now, keep looking at your screen as we're going to the next slide. Let's read this together so that way we know what we're working with. Read with Mr. Begay. Tom has 7 scissors. Now, before I keep reading, I told you, remember? Let me highlight it like this so you can see it. Usually, the first sentence is the total number there, okay? So it says, Tom has 7 scissors. So altogether, how many scissors does Tom have? 7. Okay, so let's keep reading. So Tom has 7 scissors. Read now with Mr. Begay. George has 2 scissors. Who has fewer pencils? Okay, now who has fewer scissors? How many fewer? Explain. Now, first graders, let's go sentence by sentence now and break this apart. Let's read from here. Tom has 7 scissors. How many scissors does Tom have? 7. So watch Mr. Begay. We're going to have to put 7 scissors on the first row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So look, we now have 7 scissors on the first row. These are Tom's scissors. So now we have to go now to that second sentence and read it again. Let's read. George has 2 scissors. How many scissors does George have? 2. So first graders, we gotta come now to that second row. We have to put 2 scissors underneath. 1, 2. Okay? Now first graders, this row up here, whose scissors are these? Who? Tom, okay? So this first row is how many Tom has. This second row, whose are these? George. So George only has 2 scissors. Here's our question. It says, who has fewer scissors? How many fewer? Explain. Now first graders, we said this first row is Tom. The second row is George. Now the question, first graders, is who has fewer scissors? So just by looking at this, who has fewer scissors? George, okay? How many fewer does George have? But first, let's write this. George has fewer scissors. Because that's the first question we need to answer. Who has fewer scissors? George. Because look, George only has 2. Tom has more scissors. Look, there's more scissors as compared to George. Now the next question says, how many fewer? Now look, if we X these first 2 out, how many fewer does George have? How many fewer? Are there scissors underneath these ones? No, look at that. There are no scissors underneath here, so we need to count these up right here. These ones, they get taken out, okay? Now, let's do it like this. You'll probably see it better like this. Let me take this out. Let me take this one out. And let me keep them on top and at the bottom, okay? Now look, we took these out because look, if we can X them out because there's one at the top and one at the bottom, okay? But there's no scissors underneath here. Therefore, we just count these up now. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So first graders, how many fewer scissors does George have than Tom? 5. So let's write this. He has 5 fewer scissors than Tom. So there's our explanation, first graders. George has fewer scissors. He has 5 fewer scissors than Tom. Now we finished answering the question. So our question and our answers are here. Now keep looking at your screen. Let's go to another example. Here we go. Read with Mr. Begay. Max has 3 apples. He buys 2 more apples. He wants to keep 1 apple for himself and give 1 apple to each of his 5 friends. Will Max have enough apples? Now, here's what we have to do, first graders. Let's break this apart sentence by sentence, okay? Let's come back up here. Read with Mr. Begay. Max has 3 apples. How many apples does Max have? He has 3 apples now, so watch. Mr. Begay is going to put 3 apples in here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we're done with this first sentence here. Let's move on to this next sentence. It says, he buys 2 more apples. How many apples does he buy? 2. Okay, he buys 2 more apples. So watch Mr. Begay. We gotta put 2 apples here again. Let's include that here. Now, all together, let's just count how many apples there are now. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now, all together, Max has 5 apples, okay? Now, let's keep reading up here. He wants to keep 1 apple for himself and give 1 apple to each of his 5 friends. Now let's read again. He wants to keep 1 apple. So watch Mr. Begay. Let me just put this apple right here. Okay? This is Max's apple. This is the apple that he's going to eat. And it says, and give 1 apple to each of his 5 friends. Now, how many friends does Max have? 5. So boys and girls, we have to see if there are 5 apples right here, because this one Max is going to eat. There has to be 5 apples here in order for him to give each of his friend 1. Let's count to see if there are 5. Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. So first graders, can Max give 4 apples to 5 of his friends? No, he can't, because look, there aren't enough. There is not enough apples to give to 5 friends. If he had 4 friends with him, yeah, each of these apples can go to his 4 friends, but since it says he's with 5 friends, 1 friend, look, is not going to have an apple if he gives them out one by one. So therefore, the question is, will Max have enough apples? We got to explain that. So we're going to say no, he does not have enough apples because look, there's only 4 right here. This apple that's by itself, this one Max is going to eat by himself or for himself. But these 4 apples, since he has 5 friends, he can't give it to them because 1 friend isn't going to have an apple. 1 friend's going to be left without it. So let's write this. No, Max does not have enough apples for his 5 friends. And there you go, first graders. There is our explanation. This is what you call a construct argument, okay? Now, no, Max does not have enough apples for his 5 friends because, like Mr. Begay said, 1 apple is missing right here. Therefore, even if he gives these apples to his friends, 1 friend isn't going to get an apple. And that's what we explained here, okay? And like Mr. Begay said, your explanation, your argument might sound different than mine, but as long as you really see the picture here, you draw it out, you can make that connection there. Now, go ahead and get a paper and pencil now. Once you get your paper and pencil, here is your homework. You're just going to do this screen right here. Now, let me change this really quick. Let's put number 1 there, okay? I want you to copy number 1, this entire paragraph here. I want you to read it, and I want you to draw a rectangle like this, and I want you to figure out how to work this problem. And I want you to give me your construct argument right here. It says, will Bill have enough burgers, okay? So look, you're dealing with burgers. Mr. Begay puts some burgers here, but I'll be honest. Let me give you a hint, first graders. There's a reason why I put 3 here and 3 here, okay? Just to give you a hint there. You can probably figure that out when you're reading this. Now, go ahead and continue with your homework. If you forget how to do this, rewind the video and rewatch it again. Remember, Mr. Begay is going to work on this all next week too. We're going to have to get really good at reading our sentences and really asking, what is the question asking us? And then I want you to give me your construct argument down here, just like we did on this slide. See here, we gave an explanation. On this slide, we gave an explanation. On this slide, we gave our construct argument. And the same thing right here. So on this slide, you're going to do the same thing, okay? Now, go ahead and continue working and keep your homework in a folder because you're going to submit that back tomorrow to the bus drivers. Go ahead and pause the video right here and continue with your homework because Mr. Begay is going to log off in about another 15 seconds.